3,000 new confirmed cases, nearly 2,000 new deaths. That is the backdrop for the latest guidelines from the White House, announced late this afternoon. They apply to all of us, advising Americans to protect themselves and each other by wearing masks.
The CDC is advising the use of non-medical cloth face covering as an additional voluntary public health measures. I don't think I'm going to be doing it, but you have a lot of ways you can look at it as follows. The CDC, they can be either purchased online or simply made at home, probably material that you'd have at home. These face coverings can be easily washed or reused. I want to emphasize that the CDC is not recommending the use of medical grade or surgical grade masks. You can do it, you don't have to do it. I'm choosing not to do it, but some people may want to do it, and that's okay. It may be good, probably will. They're making a recommendation. It's only a recommendation. Somehow sitting in the Oval Office behind that beautiful Resolute desk, the great Resolute desk, I think wearing a face mask as I greet presidents, prime ministers, dictators, kings, queens, I don't know, somehow I don't see it for myself.
While the president was making that announcement, along with side comments, the First Lady was giving her own advice on social media, and we quote, "As the weekend approaches, I ask that everyone take social distancing and wearing a mask/face covering seriously. The pandemic's toll on New York has accelerated. Today, the state reported its highest daily rise in deaths, 562 souls lost just since yesterday. New York is the hardest hit state of all 50, with well over 100,000 confirmed cases now, nearly 3,000 dead. That's just in the state of New York. Facing increasing shortages of ventilators and personal protective equipment, Governor Cuomo says he'll use the National Guard now to take medical supplies from hospitals where they're not in use and deploy them where they're needed. Today, Trump was asked about the need for equipment and when it might arrive.
Can you assure New York that going into next week that they're going to have the ventilators that they're going to need?
No, they should have had more ventilators at the time. They should have had more ventilators. They were totally underserviced. We're doing our best for New York. We have other states to take care of. We have a big problem in Louisiana. We have a big problem in Michigan. We have a big problem in 7 other really strong hotspots.
As cities and states struggle to get the equipment they desperately need, the president today defended his son-in-law's assertion that it wasn't the administration's problem.
Yesterday, Jared Kushner said the notion of the federal stockpile was it's supposed to be our stockpile. It's not supposed to be state stockpiles that they then use. What did he mean by our?
What are you asking?
And even the fact that taxpayers from
What's that?
every state pays for it.
No, it's not. Our, you know what our means? United States of America. Not that we have.
It's not supposed to be state stockpiles that they then
because we need it for the government and we need it for the federal government. But when the states are in, to also keep,
it's not to the states.
to keep for our country, because the federal government needs it too, not just the states.
For good measure, when that little exchange was over, the president called the reporter's line of questioning nasty. The economic picture is also looking bleaker by the day, sadly. Yesterday, we learned nearly 10 million Americans are now out of work. Today's jobless report shows more than 700,000 jobs were cut. The Wall Street Journal calling it just the start of a much deeper labor market collapse underway due to the coronavirus pandemic. Congress, for its part, is preparing to move on a 4th phase of relief for Americans. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell telling the AP today he's spoken with Speaker Nancy Pelosi and health care will be a top priority. Different story when it comes to the president potentially talking with the speaker.
If it were important to talk to her, I'd talk to her. If it were important for the American people, I'd talk to her.
Senate Democrats, meanwhile, calling for a formal investigation into the firing of the Navy captain who sounded the alarm over the spread of the illness on board his nuclear aircraft carrier, Theodore Roosevelt. This is how the crewmen and women under Captain Brett Crozier's command saw him off the bridge last night. And with that, he was relieved of his command.